Hey everyone, how are you doing? It's Marla. This is going to be kind of a test run of a brand new foundation I recently picked up. I've already put on my eye makeup and I'm going to just do the application of the foundation. And the foundation I picked up from Sephora was the Lancome Ultra 24-hour makeup. It's a liquid foundation, so I don't know if you really need to shake it, but I'm shaking it up just a touch. You can apply this foundation with a sponge, with your fingers, or with a brush, but I prefer a sponge because I prefer to shear it out a little bit due to some of the wrinkles and lines on my face. This is the shade that I'm using. It's 320 Bisque W. I don't know how I'm a bisque because I'm always usually darker than that, but this shade does match me perfectly. And I'm blending it in right now with my beauty blender. And you'll be able to see sort of what kind of coverage you can get with this. They call it an oil-free, long-wearing liquid foundation that will give you medium to full coverage. And it's supposed to give you, oh, there's my little scar. That did not get covered up. I don't really know if it's a scar or if it's just kind of a red healing burn mark, but it wasn't able to cover that up. But this is supposed to give you a very natural looking velvety matte finish and last up to 24 hours. That first coating was not quite enough, so I am going to do one more coat, so that's going to make two coats. I'm going to run down the claims on this foundation. It's supposed to give you full coverage, it's supposed to be comfortable, long wearing, not thick or greasy, and the foundation is supposed to have a very innovative formula that gives all skin tones a flawless complexion perfecting coverage. It has an SPF of 15 sunscreen. Not amazing, but at least it has some sunscreen protection. Your redness, your pores, and any imperfections on your face are supposed to disappear. And it's also supposed to even out your skin tone and leave a mattified yet natural finish. Okay, my perceptions of this on my face. It is very lightweight. It is very comfortable. If you put one coat on, it does leave a very beautiful natural finish. However, when I put two coats on and when I wait for a little bit and look back at myself in the mirror after this foundation is kind of sort of dried, I really feel, at least for me, that I see it kind of getting into my lines and my wrinkles on my face. Now, maybe because I didn't use my fingers or a brush and used a beauty blender and kind of sheared it out, the coverage just isn't, I guess, as good as I thought it was going to be. Like I said before, it does leave a really pretty finish, but my red marks are still showing through. I can see most of the freckling on my face still under there showing through. And then if I add a second coat to try to cover those up, that's when I feel that it starts to get a little bit, I don't want to say cakey, but I can start seeing my pores around my nose and the lines on my face. I don't know. That's kind of my perception. My perceptions of this foundation are that I feel that it is a nice foundation for mature skin. However, if you put too many layers on, you can start getting a cakey look and have it emphasize your pores and your lines. But if you are conservative in the application of it, it does leave an absolutely beautiful finish. It makes your skin look very pretty and flawless. But again, I don't consider this, kind of full coverage. I guess if I used it maybe without a wet beauty blender, or used a brush and applied two coatings of it, I could get full coverage. But then at the same time, all my pores and my lines and wrinkles would also be emphasized. So kind of a catch-22 there on that. So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone with this video. Several people had asked me to do a video on how I do my eyebrows. So I'm doing that right now in the middle of this kind of my perceptions video. I'm taking my Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade and the Brow Wiz. I'm wetting a little brush that I have from MAC. I think this is a 208 brush, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to draw the line on my eyebrows. You can see how high up they are arched right now, and I want to kind of take away that arch by drawing a line kind of across from the beginning of my eyelash to sort of where the middle of the tail is. And that's what I'm doing right now. I always start underneath my eyebrows first and kind of follow along that line on the base of the brow. And then once I get to that area that arches up at an arch that's too high, I'm going to draw on my eyebrow straight across. You can see me doing that right now. And then it's going to connect with the tail of the brow on the other side. I always use a wet brush when I dip it in the pomade. I don't know if you're supposed to do that or not, but I've been doing that forever, and it allows me to use up an entire jar of pomade without it kind of drying out. I know people are probably going to tell me that's not sanitary, but I've really never had a problem with it. And since I'm not actually putting this in my eye, I think we should be okay. So you see how I have drawn that eyebrow in more of a horizontal line across. You see where the arch is, the natural arch of my eyebrow is very high, and I created less of an arch by drawing it straight across and then carrying the tail down. I'm going to start at the very top of that arch and just do very gentle brush strokes as if I was drawing on each hair one at a time, and carry that all the way down through the tail of my eyebrow. And throughout this whole process, I will periodically clean off my brush because sometimes the pomade has a tendency to start gunking up on the bristles. Now I'm going to start drawing in almost individual little hairs, and I'm working my way from the tail all the way towards the front of the beginning of my eyebrow. Now I'm going to take the Brow Wiz. I use pomade in the shade Taupe and the Brow Wiz in dark brown. I just kind of like the two different colors mixed together. That way I don't get super, super dark eyebrows. And I'm just, again, using little gentle brush strokes as if I was drawing on each individual hair. I always start usually on the base of the eyebrows first, carry it down through the tail, and then bring it up and follow it all the way through to the front of my eyebrows. And then I'm going to take the spoolie end of the Brow Wiz and just gradually brush over the lines just to make sure there's nothing there that looks harsh and it just looks like my natural eyebrow. And I don't know why this is, but if I use the Brow Wiz alone, my eyebrows, especially the tails, will wear off very quickly. If I use the pomade alone, my eyebrows, especially the tails, will wear off quickly. But if I use them together, they will stay on like glue, and I have to rub them off with makeup remover to come off. So I have no idea why. It's like the two of them together mix and the chemical combustion occurs or something bizarre, and they just form this kind of cement rock, and they're not movable. So that's why I like to use both of them together. So I have all my makeup on now, and my thoughts on this foundation. As I've said before, if I get it to be full coverage by maybe not using the beauty blender and using a brush and applying two coatings, I just don't like the way it looks on my skin. I can see my pores, my lines are super emphasized. If I use a beauty blender and kind of shear it out and only do one once around coating, then it's a very beautiful finish. But you can still see my freckling through there. I don't know. I just, maybe somebody can tell me how to get this full coverage and still look natural and not look like you have lots of wrinkles all over your face. But again, beautiful coverage, beautiful foundation. I think it'd be great for mature skin. It's just that I think you're really going to have to accept that you're going to maybe only be able to do kind of one coating and not get a total full coverage. Bye bye, guys. Take care. From Marla.